Hey guys, it's NerdGasm. Let's take a look at another classic superhero game from the 4th generation, Spider-Man the Animated Series for the Super Nintendo. It was based off the much-beloved cartoon series from the 1990s that ran on the Fox Kids network from November 1994 until January of 1998. The game was developed by Western Technologies and published by Acclaim Entertainment. The story of Spider-Man the Animated Series is simple but effective. A breakout occurs at Ravencroft prison, and some of Spidey's biggest villains have escaped to wreak havoc on the city. It's up to the wall crawler to stop them and save New York. Level 1 has you infiltrate Doc Ock's laboratory and survive his gauntlet of technological death traps. When you make it to him, the boss battle is quite simple. Turn on the energy beam, web him in the face, and let it zap him. Rinse and repeat. When he gets knocked out, I love his animation. It's hilarious. Level 2 is at a construction zone, as you make your way up a partially constructed building. All throughout, you'll find yourself facing off with countless Spider Slayers, and at the top is the Tri-Spider Slayer from the episode Return of the Spider Slayers. It's a combination of the Black Widow, Tarantula, and Scorpion models. Pretty cool. I'll skip level 3 for the time being because I'll be discussing that later in the video, so we'll move on to level 4, which takes place on Coney Island, and it's filled to the brim with amusement park attractions, a roller coaster, and a funhouse. When you reach the top, you battle the Green Goblin, and when he's defeated, he's knocked right into the neon sign behind you and is electrocuted. Can you say dead? Anyone else smell burnt Halloween mask? Level 5 is in J. Jonah Jameson's penthouse. Not much to say here, just a fancy environment full of escalators and art sculptures. Once you reach the top, you come face to face with Alistair Smythe, upgraded with cybernetics and turned into the ultimate Spider Slayer. After defeating and capturing all the main villains, Venom appears to tell Spider-Man his way of dealing with criminals is ineffective and goes to Ravencroft prison to kill them all himself. The final stage of the game, Level 6, takes place within the walls of the prison, and acts as a giant gauntlet where you battle all the villains you had faced up until that point that are released from their cells. It's pretty epic, and of course a final battle with Venom. Though the main antagonists of the game are Doc Ock, Alistair Smythe, Green Goblin, and Venom, there is an abundance of other notable Spider-Man villains sprinkled in throughout the levels too, that pop up out of the blue sometimes for a welcome challenge. Some are even missable. You've got Scorpion, the Owl, Jack-O-Lantern, the Tinkerer, Chameleon, Rhino, the Vulture, Lizard, Mysterio, Hydro-Man, Beetle, even a Xenomorph from the Alien franchise. Though to be honest, despite its similarities to a Xenomorph, a lot of people incorrectly label this character as such. It's not a Xenomorph, it's an alien Spider Slayer that was not featured in the animated series, but was part of its toy line. Its design is actually inspired by the Mark X Spider Slayer from the comics, the first one to attack Spider-Man in the Invasion of the Spider Slayers storyline from the early 90s. Spider-Man the Animated Series on the Super Nintendo is one of my favorite superhero games. In fact, I would consider it to be one of the best Spider-Man games ever made, at least in terms of its concept and delightful comic book-inspired graphics. Problem is, like a lot of these games around that time, it's a hard son of a bitch. I can't beat it legitimately without the use of some cheats. It's not a complicated game by any means, it's pretty simple to pick up and play, but its controls are what make it so difficult, frustrating even. They're unresponsive at times and it feels like they just don't register. You really have to press down hard for Spider-Man to throw a simple kick or a punch. The worst is the platforming though. Some of these sections are downright infuriating, and the accuracy needed with a few of them is insane. You'll find yourself attempting them over and over again, and with each fall you get angrier and angrier. You start to lose patience and focus, which makes you mess up even more. The web swinging is performed with a simple button press, but even that can be iffy at times. It doesn't always work or latch on properly. Level 3, the Brooklyn Bridge, is the bane of my existence. You have to swing your way under the bridge and make it to the other side, but if one of your webs miss, if your timing is off by just a hair, you fall into the water and lose a life. Fall too many times, and it's game over. What really sucks is that certain parts of the bridge have this weird break in them, and if your swinging curve happens to fall over it, then your web won't work in those areas. It's basically an instant death. It's bullshit. This part of the game, as well as the broken roller coaster section at Coney Island, which suffers from all the same pitfall issues, is why I have never been able to beat this game legit from start to finish. A few other things I'd like to mention is the fact that Spidey does look a bit too big in this game, like he's jacked up on steroids or something. He also walks with attitude, too aggressive in my opinion. What's his problem? Some of the levels have these weird transition points where you jump from foreground to background, but it's never clear where these are all the time. With a few of them I have difficulty swapping between the two planes. I think it has something to do with holding down the jump button, but it still doesn't make it easy. It doesn't always work the way you want it to. Even with its flaws, I still enjoy Spider-Man the Animated Series. I think as a whole, it's a fun game, and a faithful adaptation of one of the best Marvel cartoons ever made, one I grew up watching. Its controls are unresponsive at times, and some of the platforming is downright maddening, but I can let some of that stuff slide because of my nostalgia for this title. I remember playing it at a friend's house, in the dark, getting scared out of my mind when I saw the prison door crack open, and all these evil villains pop out and laugh. This game is tough because of the controls and the unfair platforming sections, but if you utilize some level select cheats, you can eliminate some of the frustration, and it can be an entertaining time. I think in many ways this is still one of the best Spider-Man games ever made. In some ways it isn't, but in other ways it is. I don't know. If you don't agree with me, then that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. But despite its issues, I will always love this game and it has a special place in my heart. This has been NerdGasm. If you enjoyed the review, make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon to be notified of all future content I release on the channel. If you know anyone who might enjoy this kind of stuff, feel free to share the video to them as well. It helps me out a lot. If you want to have a say in what superhero game I take a look at next on the channel, head on over to patreon.com/channelnerdgasm and become a financial backer. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.